Will more Wildstorm characters appear in the DCU? Hi, I'm Jordan the Nerd of Gold, and I think that James originally had a plan where the Wildstorm characters were going to be more fully integrated into the DC universe than we can currently see. And I think we're going to start seeing some hints of it next year, and I'm going to tell you who I think will appear and where in just a second. But I want to say that the plans have definitely shifted because we don't have an Authority film or script announced and finished and a director attached to that and like starting production sometime late next year or something like that. And we know that plans have changed because he's recently stated that his Batman's plans have had some major changes to them recently, and I don't know exactly what these changes mean for the Wildstorm characters exactly, other than I still think that there's a possibility that because they were early enough in production, we are going to see some hints of this original plan over in Supergirl and in Lanterns. Now, the reason I think this is because these were still being written and produced while James was working on Superman itself before the movie came out and all that. So I think there's a good chance that even though at some point during the production of the Superman film that plans for the Authority changed, I think there are still going to be some characters popping up in each of those projects that were originally going to be bigger parts in later projects there. So for first, I think Supergirl, we might see Zealot. I don't think she's going to play a major role. I think she's going to have more of a supporting cameo in that kind of thing. But she is going to be a major character, or not a major character. She was going to be a major character in a later project. She was just going to be first shown in Supergirl. And I still think that's quite possible, though we don't know all the casting for the movie. We don't know exactly how it's going to adapt to the Woman of Tomorrow storyline because Lobo has been introduced in there, and Lobo wasn't in the original story. So obviously they're taking it more as an inspiration point rather than a plot point by plot point, because there's no way you can insert Lobo into a story and it not change that direction. So I do think it's quite possible that we see Zealot in a supporting role there. Maybe just a few minutes here as Supergirl and Lobo are on one planet chasing that guy. So I don't think, again, that she's going to play a major role, but I do think it's quite possible, and she is the most likely character from the Wildstorm universe to appear in Supergirl. Now, over in Lanterns, I think it's quite possible that we see maybe one or two Daemonites being manipulated by Sinestro to do something on Earth, because I think the Daemonites are a really great enemy. They're shape-shifting aliens with psychic powers. That makes them a great enemy to the Martian Manhunter as well, who I do believe is going to be introduced, and he's going to have a direct connection to the Daemonites in some way. But I do think that they make good, like, grunt enemies that Sinestro would know about, know how to counter, and know how to manipulate in order to get what he wants on Earth. So I do think the concept of the Daemonites is going to be introduced in Lanterns. That's where I think they're going to appear. I don't think they're going to be major enemies, like we're going to see Hellspawn or anything, but I do think it's quite possible that we see Daemonites in Lanterns, because that's where introducing them makes the most sense to me. You know what I mean? Like, if we're not going to get an Authority movie or a Wildcats movie anytime in the near future, I do think Lanterns makes the most sense is to introduce the concept so that way we can build on it in the future. But let me know, are there any Wildstorm characters do you think that will appear in the next year of these films? So we've got Lanterns coming out, Supergirl, Clayface. I don't think we're going to see anything. We could have one or two name drops in there, but I don't think we're going to see any Wildstorm stuff in that. It was also produced separately and like kind of pitched to James rather than something he was envisioning. So that's one project where I think that's where the plans were shifting, and that's the first project that's not going to have any hint of Wildstorm characters in it. But let me know, what do you think?